How much do you want to bet I'm going to get demonetized for this one? So this is a story about an OnlyFans model, and she's going to evict her parents because they voted for Donald Trump. She's so mad about it. But I find it funny. This is the photo they use for Daily Mail. And, you know, there's no context if I just use your face. Here's the tweet in question. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Anyway, welcome to YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. So this lady tweets, my parents are downstairs right now in the house I moved us into and whose bills I pay watching TV. They happily voted for Trump. I don't know how to be anything other than angry. 6 more months on the lease, and every day already I am more angry. Cry about it. She's really talking about kicking her parents out because they voted for Trump. I mean, what is this? Dude, look, man, Democrats ran on degeneracy. I'm a fairly liberal guy. I am not some hardcore right-wing conservative. I'm more libertarian. And I still think it's like, you do you, right? But there's got to be a limiting factor. You need some degree of responsibility. If we don't have families, if you don't have kids, this country doesn't exist. The planet doesn't exist. Humans don't exist. You have to work to produce things. There's this, There's a famous quote. It's something like, life is like being on a treadmill. If you're walking, you're staying still. If you stop walking, you move backwards. You have to run to get ahead. And that's the reality of it. We will never find a reality where we can just sit and do nothing. This world, entropy is one of the principal realities, tendency towards chaos, which means only through eternal vigilance do we maintain the comforts that we have. And then there's yin yang. There's going to be light in the dark. There's going to be dark in the light. There's going to be good with the bad. You will have ups and downs. This is the nature of existence. These people want to live in this gluttonous, degenerate world where everyone else pays their bills. Lady, you know what? Fine. Like I said, fairly liberal. If there's a society where it's basically like women can get naked on camera and guys are stupid enough to give their money away, you know, let me just say this, guys. I ain't cutting you no slack. Not every guy. Just the guys out there who are like, I have a hard time finding a girlfriend. Well, stop buying OnlyFans. Stop paying for pornography. All these guys, they're funding this. And then they're acting like, dude, people are going to sell a product if there's going to be payment for a product. So all these guys are like, I'll pay for it. I don't care. And then they're going to complain that I can't find a girlfriend. Yeah, I'm not cutting you any slack. I know not every guy's like that. But to the guys out there that want to be good, hardworking dudes, they work out, they eat right, they have good jobs, and they're struggling, they can't find a good date or whatever. I tell you this. Largely, I blame the guys who are funding OnlyFans. She goes on to say on X, they know I have extensive, let me make sure I get the timeline right. Here we go. They know I have extensive reproductive health issues. Why? Because you're a hooker? They know access to birth control is the only thing between me and regular hospital visits. Okay, I'll walk that one back. They know Trump is a fascist. No, they don't. They don't even like him. They voted him anyway. It feels like they spat in my face. My dad's fiance sent me a photo of when she voted. Super chipper. I didn't bother to respond. My dad joked he was going to be sure to vote to cancel mine out. I don't even want to look at them. 6 more months on this lease. I don't know that we'll talk afterwards for a long time. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. My father runs a business and has money coming in. His fiance owns millions and millions worth of property and a ranch. She's a landlord. She never had a job or paid a bill. They could have tons of money. She just doesn't sell anything. So here's the funny thing. The story is, Antifa model says she's going to evict parents from home after they voted for Donald Trump. No, she's living with them. 6 more months on this lease. She's leaving. Her parents are well off. She's just whinging. You know what, man? But I'm going to throw it out there. I don't accept this. That this woman, look, okay, let me slow down. Her dad, mister, you raised a hooker, okay? And that's fine if you don't care, and that's fine if she doesn't care. But this is your child, and if that's what fine, you do you. But I'm going to say this. I will not tolerate such things. I do not accept that people, I've had people say to me years ago, and now you can't control what happens to your kids. They're going to turn out to be, no, that's not true. That's a lie. And I hope my kids in the future, one day, maybe they'll see this video because I already have plans. Now I know you can't guarantee specific outcomes 100%, but you can be a good parent. You can instill good values. You can teach the lesson of delayed gratification and hard work. And that can be done. Some lessons in life are learned through the world and nature and life itself, with or without your parents. But the most important lessons are taught by your parents. And so here is a young woman who resents her father, which makes no sense. She makes money off of OnlyFans, so they report. I mean, maybe it's not true, whatever. They call her a model. She's an OnlyFans model, sure. And this is what you have raised your daughter to be. She has found her path to money is not in providing real value. It is, in fact, in selling images of her naked body to guys so they can take it in the other room and, you know what I mean? Look, I'm not going to pass judgment, but I will say a few things. A society that tends in this direction is a society that will collapse. And if you don't care, fine, so be it. But we are fighting against you. I say this. You do you. Lady, you want to be a hooker, you do what you want, okay? It's legal. It's OnlyFans. Make money, have fun. Guys, you want to spend money? Sure, fine. But we, everyone else, who are trying to make a functional society where we can be comfortable, where we can go to space, where we can have better technology, where we can, end poverty. You can't really, but sure, in the lexicon of the left. You can't end poverty because poverty is relative. The poorest people today have better dental care than Rockefeller did, okay? The point is we can make everyone's lives better continually so long as we do the hard work. Degeneracy destabilizes that system. People who are sleeping around doing drugs, this is not productive. It's a drag on society. But I'm not some authoritarian guy who's going to say, don't do the things you enjoy because we don't know how to balance that. I say we should have social limitations. Things should be, as Ron Paul said, abortion should be unthinkable, not illegal. We need cultural changes. We need to instill real values in our children so they don't grow up to become this. So when I see this story and she's like, I'm leaving, I don't want to be with my parents, they're making fun of me, I can't take it anymore. Fine. Well, I see these stories all day, every day, where this dad is like, what happened to my daughter? You sent her to a college. What did you think was going to happen? Think about the average person raising kids. And for those of you who have kids, think about this yourself. There are challenges. How do you work 2 jobs, your mom and dad, and raise a young kid? You need that school system, don't you? It's basically a daycare where your kids are being looked after, but they're not being looked after. And you may say, Tim, then what do I do? It's impossible. I know. It may be. There's no real answers. I'm sorry. Me, I'm about to have a kid, and we're going to be doing like pod learning, private schooling, private education with a local community where we know the values being instilled in our kids, and our kids are going to spend time with us. But not everybody can do that, which creates a really serious problem. Dad, your daughter, she is being raised by psychopaths, woke lunatics, and her friends. I got friends who have kids, and their kids, and they say, like, we don't want you using the phone. We don't want you going to these things. They're bad influences. Stay away from them. And the kid says, fine. But guess what? The kid's friend has a cell phone, and they're pulling up snuff and other disgusting things. And they're going, look at this. Kids shouldn't have access to that stuff. I had a conversation on this show. A liberal said, so what? I think it was Stephen Marsh, actually. He was saying, like, so what? It exists. Kids can learn about it. And I'm like, dude, you don't show a 6-year-old child mutilation, war, and death, and blood, and guts. Why? The neurons in their brain are developing at a young age. Their brain is forming connections. You can program people to be, I say figuratively programming, whatever you want them to be. Within limits, genetics do play a role in external factors, nature and nurture and all those things. But there's a reason why throughout history we've said we don't expose our kids to certain things because it leads to bad behaviors and it breaks their brain. So as a young kid, you want to keep them in line. That is your job, to guide them and protect them. As they get older and begin to understand war, famine, death, love, life, etc., then you start introducing these things. Otherwise, you end up with people with serious mental illnesses. And why does that matter? The left goes, why do you care so much? The trans kid who wants surgery, I say, because we're trying to maximize happiness and minimize depression and minimize suicide. I'll give you an example. The trans kid issue, which Trump says is going to end. There's a great clip going around where Joe Rogan is talking to Adam Conover, who's like, I got a kid who was trans, and the kid said he was a girl, so they gave the kid drugs. And it's like, yeah, it's not a good thing. You shouldn't have done that. Here's the issue. Desistance rates, that means a rate at which a child who says that they're trans will be like, you know what, I was wrong, I'm not, is between like 65 and 90 something percent, according to the data we have now. Suicidality, suicidal ideation is around 40%. Do the math. If there is a kid who says, I believe I'm the wrong gender or whatever, they have 60 to 90% that in a couple years, they'll stop. They'll get better. It's called desistance. So what is the average suicide rate of a kid? It's rather low. What if you then say, okay, we'll make you trans. We'll go along with it and give the kid drugs. This cohort has a 40% suicidality. So you are just dramatically increasing rates of suicide. That is why we say we don't let kids do whatever they want. They don't get tattoos. There's a really great tweet. Phil Labonte said on X, there are no trans kids, to which some leftists said, teachers in the 1950s, there are no left-handed kids. And how many left hands did we surgically remove so that they would be forced to use their right? We didn't. There was no permanent damage left to the body. Now, don't get me wrong, nuns would, the story goes, they'd whack the hand with a ruler and be like, right with your left, whack. Maybe, I don't know if that's true or not. But yeah, for a long time, they didn't think left-handedness was real. It was wrong. But some people are left-handed. We don't care. And what happened? There was a dip. The funny thing is, what the left doesn't tell you is that left-handedness was totally normal, except for a brief period where they were like, no left-handedness. But again, fine, whatever. Fair point, except we didn't surgically remove their hands. So if we were wrong, these people got to grow up and then use their left hand if they wanted to. Anyway, I digress. This is not a story of a woman who wants to evict her parents. She's saying she lives with them. They got this one wrong. Her parents are rich. What, I don't know why. She says her dad owes her wages from her work. Oh, is that what it is? My dad's fiance says, what did she say? My dad joked. Regular hospital visits. What is this? Says, I don't know. My father runs a business, has money coming in. Yeah. She claimed her dad owes her wages for her work for him, and that she's been exploited by him, going after those who accuse her of wanting to leave parents on the street. Nah, sorry. It makes no sense that she's evicting them when her dad is marrying a woman who owns tons of properties, unless it's like they're living with her for some reason. Many social media users took issue with her thread, accusing her of putting politics above loved ones. One reply read, "This is why Democrats lose. They think they know what's best for everyone. If you won't go along with them, they will use your livelihood as a bargaining chip. You're all about forced compliance." Another added, "If a loved one's political opinion affects you, touch grass." One person says, "Protect yourself, since they won't help protect you. Sometimes the family we make is better than the ones we're born into." You know what's funny? If somebody was doing drugs, we'd get them to stop. We don't affirm it. If somebody is bulimic, we don't buy them Ipecac. We don't affirm these things because we know what will make someone flourish and what will harm someone. But fine. Let me just wrap by saying this. It is the cult that threatens you with expulsion unless you fall in line, not the sane base reality. So if you're trying to figure out who's in the cult, it's not the Trump supporters, it's you who will tell people, get out. When the media says abandon your friends and family for voting for Trump, it's because you're in a cult. Smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Become a member at timcast.com. Thanks for hanging out. We got more segments coming up, and we'll see you all then.